Do you ever feel like you have a sixth sense for other people's moods? Like you can walk into a room and instantly tell if someone is secretly angry just by the way they closed a door or set down a coffee mug? You might just think you're an overthinker, or maybe you call yourself a highly sensitive person. But if you grew up in a house where the mood could flip like a light switch, that's not a personality trait. That is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do: survive. Today, we're unpacking the 7 hidden habits of people who grew up walking on eggshells. And habit number 4 is probably ruining your relationships right now. Picture a typical Tuesday night. You're sitting in the living room. The TV's on, maybe some quiet sitcom playing in the background. But you aren't really watching the screen. You're listening to the footsteps in the hallway. You're analyzing the exact pitch of your dad's sigh as he opens the fridge. You're trying to calculate if the heavy thud of your mom setting down her purse means she had a bad day at work, and more importantly, if that bad day is about to become your problem. If you lived this, you didn't have a normal childhood. You had a job. Your job was threat detection. You became a tiny emotional meteorologist, constantly checking the atmospheric pressure of the room to predict the next storm. When you grow up in an unpredictable environment, maybe a parent was quick to anger, emotionally unavailable, or struggled with their own unspoken demons, your brain adapts. It realizes that being a kid isn't safe, so it rewires you. It turns you into an adult long before you're ready. You learned that peace wasn't something you naturally deserved. It was something you had to actively manage and maintain. And the tragic part? You didn't leave those survival skills behind when you moved out. You packed them up and brought them right into your adult life, your friendships, your career, and your romantic relationships. Let's talk about the first habit. You apologize to inanimate objects. You apologize when someone bumps into you at the grocery store. You apologize for breathing too loud. This isn't just politeness. When you grew up walking on eggshells, taking the blame was the quickest way to de-escalate a dangerous situation. You learned to be the emotional shock absorber for your family. By saying, "I'm sorry," you are subconsciously saying, "Please don't be mad at me. I'll take the hit so we can just have peace." Habit number 2, you are a forensic analyst of text messages. If your friend usually uses exclamation points and suddenly sends a period, your heart drops. A simple "okay" sends you into a spiral. You spend hours agonizing over what you did wrong. Why? Because as a kid, subtle shifts in tone were the only warning signs you had before an explosion. You aren't crazy. Your brain is just terrified of missing a red flag. Then there's habit 3. You are a chameleon. You don't really know who you are because you've spent your entire life being exactly what other people needed you to be. If you're with quiet people, you shrink. If you're with loud people, you perform. You learned early on that having your own needs, your own opinions, or your own voice was a liability. It took up space, and taking up space made you a target. Take a breath for a second. Let that sink in. How much of your personality right now is actually you, and how much is just a tailored performance designed to keep other people comfortable? This brings us to habit number 4, the one we mentioned earlier, the relationship ruiner. When things are going well, you self-sabotage. You pick a fight, you pull away, you ghost them. It sounds backwards, doesn't it? You crave love and stability so much, yet when you finally get it, you destroy it. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Chaos is your comfort zone. Peace feels terrifying because in your childhood home, the quiet was never actually peaceful. The quiet was just the tense, suffocating pause right before the yelling started. So when your adult relationships get too calm, your alarm bells ring. You create the chaos yourself just to regain a sense of control. Habit 5 is the need to build an airtight case for everything you do. You over-explain. If you're 5 minutes late to work, you don't just say you ran into traffic. You give a detailed 10-minute timeline of your morning, complete with evidence. You do this because you were never given the benefit of the doubt as a child. You were always on trial. Your word was never enough, so you learned to become your own defense attorney just to survive daily life. Habit 6. You hate being watched. Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, typing an email at work, or just folding laundry, if someone is standing behind you, your skin crawls. You'd freeze up. In a volatile home, attention was rarely positive. Being noticed usually meant being criticized, yelled at, or given a task. Invisibility was your superpower. You learned how to walk through a room without making the floorboards creak. And now, the feeling of being perceived feels like a spotlight you desperately want to turn off. And finally, habit 7, you are the ultimate fixer. When someone around you is sad, stressed, or angry, you feel physically uncomfortable until you can fix it. You take on their emotions as your personal responsibility. You think, if they're unhappy, it must be my fault, or at least my job to cure it. You've spent a lifetime managing the unmanageable emotions of the adults who were supposed to be managing you. But here's the twist, the realization that changes everything. You are not broken. Let me say that again. You are not broken. Everything you just recognized in yourself, the overthinking, the apologizing, the hypervigilance, these are not character flaws. They are scars from a war you fought when you were too young to be a soldier. You developed these habits because you're incredibly resilient. You adapted to an impossible environment, and your brain did a brilliant job of keeping you safe. Just pause and honor that for a moment. The child version of you did an amazing job surviving. You made it. But you are no longer in that house. The storm has passed. You are an adult now, living in a different time, a different place, and with different people. The armor that kept you alive back then is the exact same thing keeping you isolated right now. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and you do not have to wear it anymore. Healing doesn't mean you'll never overthink again. It doesn't mean you won't still flinch when a door slams. Healing simply means realizing that the door slamming is just the wind. It means realizing that you are finally safe. You can stop tiptoeing. You can put your heels flat on the floor. You can finally take a full, deep breath without checking to see who's watching. You are allowed to take up space. Healing is a journey, and it's not one you have to walk alone. If you found a piece of yourself in this video, if you finally felt seen today, join our community at Psychology Essentials. Subscribe, and let's continue untangling these hidden habits together, one story at a time. You deserve to heal. We'll see you in the next one.